get a lot of intelligence from emotions. Emotions are really an outward reflection of things going around us, and we'll pick up different things through our emotions that we may not actually see, may not actually hear, but we can feel. Yes, feelings do mean something, and sometimes the feelings that we get, they're at odds with the things that we have inside of it. We call that aspect of you're seeing things that are actually at the core, they're fighting against what you actually believe in. It violates the image of being rational. I can't believe they're doing that. They're not supposed to be doing that. They're doing that. And you sit there and you go in these circles, these illogic circles instead of logic circles, because you're trying to reason what's going on and you want to reduce that. So, but it's difficult to undo or change the behavior. You really did that. You did that to me behind my back. You did it to that person behind their back. I can't trust you because if you did it to them, you'll do it to me. You actually took that. Really? I can't believe it. You said that? Oh my goodness. You actually did that. Sometimes you have this fight, and the fight goes on to what you saw over here as an emotion, and it really fights against what your value system really holds or what you believe to be the actual reality of the situation should be, because your perception is totally changed. Sometimes we sit down there and we see that happening, and we do all we can to sit down there and plan to control the organization with our emotions. Higher in jobs requiring emotional display, a whole series of emotions or intense emotions. A lot of times those norms, they vary across the cultures. The norms that we're talking about in our class are primarily United States oriented, and it could be very different from South America, very different in Japan, very different in China, very different in most European nations, very different from India. You start paying attention to these things. If you want to have a meeting in South America, never arrive on time, show a little bit late. That's more respectful than being on time. If you have a lunch meeting, don't talk business during lunch, talk it at dessert or later. If you're in Japan, always show up on time, never show up late, because that's rude. You have two different aspects of what the different emotions are as to what happens with your timing as an American. So really play upon the expected emotions and try to sit down there and make them consistent with the values that are expected. Sometimes you do this surface acting. You fake the expected emotion. Oh, yes, it's so good to see you. Yes, I have a deadline coming up, and you just showed up without an appointment. I can't believe you did that to me. But yes, thank you so much. See my teeth? If I were a rabbit animal, I'd bite you, because in the back it drives me absolutely crazy. So, but the surface acting is stressful and it's difficult. You're putting on a fake emotional face. But the actual thing is, you want to regulate those emotions. You want to change the situation. You want to modify it. So relax and take a pill. You're here. I didn't expect you to be here, but you are. You know what? I'm so glad you came, because there's about 7 issues that I'd like to talk to you about. And I bet now that we're face to face, we can resolve them. And I'll put this aside. Next time, please let me know. And that way I can sit down and be prepared for that. Let me put this aside for now, and let's talk about these things. And maybe we can actually make this super productive. I'm so glad you're here. Suppress and amplify the emotions. Shift the attention towards your frustration into what you can make the best out of it. Reframe it. Sometimes you're reframing and you're talking out loud to reflect the thing that's going on inside over here. And you're almost talking to yourself, because no matter what happens, if somebody walked in unexpectedly in a situation I just described, they will sense immediately, they'll get an emotional feedback from you. Maybe not because, oh, I see I have really disturbed you. They won't do that, but they'll sit down and say that you sat there, looked at them, and you slammed on your pen a little bit too hard and everything. When you looked at them, and they sit down and they were looking for some type of way to get out of the situation that they created. But if you reframe it for yourself and for them, you can make the best out of it. Make a strategy, never let a bad situation go unwasted. So the emotional intelligence model, really be aware of your emotions and manage your emotions. Don't get out of control with them on others, recognize their emotions, be aware of what's going on, manage their emotions as best you can, and make the pathway easy and put the emotions under control, because too many emotions will start creating attitudes. You want to make certain that the doors open for them to express themselves to you, as well as for you to express yourself to them, and that you both sit down and listen to the other in the process, because you may have to work together for years to come. A good emotional intelligence leader, they lead better with teamwork. They have an emotional labor performance. If you really are a good leader, you're going to pay attention to the feelings and emotions those around you. And actually, it's almost like going surfing. You ride the board on the very tip of the wave. Sometimes that wave can crush you under, but if you're on top of it, you can get places really fast and have a good time doing it. Decisions involving other people, develop that creative mindset, not just as an individual, but as an entire team, and work together to create something awesome within the organization. Develop emotional intelligence, and I recommend you do that really through training, coaching as a group, and then practice with each other and have feedback. One of the very best organizations I ever was in, and I really did a fabulous job as a leader, is I took a group, we went for what they call adventure education, where you go out into the woods and you have one of the experiences where you do challenging activities underground or up in trees. I know a lot of people are afraid of all that. We did it as a group, but we had to learn to trust each other, because our lead guy, he's sitting over there, he was listening to us as we're talking about, and we were engaging in harmless put downs and insults before. It's 7:30 in the morning, it's due, we're dressed in wood clothes, so we got blue jeans and t-shirts and old tennis shoes on, and we're engaging this thing. So here this guy who was there, he had 7 earrings in one ear and 3 earrings in another, long hair. I made a bad judgment call. I thought he was nothing but a hippie. Ended up, by the time it was all done, he was one of the smartest people I ever came across. I had to take my prejudice and shove it away and listen, because he said an incredible thing. He says, I know that all of you know each other very well and you're engaged in these comments, but they're all negative. Today, a lot of you are going to be doing some very difficult things. I'd like you to only, from this moment forward, say only positive, supportive things to each other. We all felt idiots, especially me, because I was in charge and I was the leader of the insults and everything. We decided after that retreat that we went on as a group that we would no longer ever insult the other person. If we had a problem with somebody, we would go behind closed doors and resolve it. And not for me, somebody within the group, he says, why don't we get a contract and everybody signed the contract that will support each other and only talk to them in public once we've talked with them in private to try to solve a problem. It was incredible. We flowed for the longest time until I had to shift in positions in my career pathway. I really missed that opportunity, because that was one of those moments where we all had emotional intelligence, and when one of us didn't have it, we found a way to sit down there and share with that person where we're coming from, and we brought each other. It was the best experience on teamwork, because we were all aware of each other's emotions. Emotions is our first reaction, and then over time, the attitude develops from those emotional reactions time and time again. The reaction situation varies by the person, and the more reason to understand each other and yourself, and that's why I encourage you to take the test as often as you possibly can about your personality, and listen to other people's responses to the test. People are going to react. They're going to react to the test. They're going to react to whatever, but sometimes you just got to fake it to make it. Intelligence for emotions, it's there, it's real. Pay attention to them. Take care.